Hi there, for the benefit of Joe, K6TPL here on the YouTube. This is take 18. It's Saturday, there's lots of interruptions, but hopefully we'll get through it this time. Congratulations to Josh, Union Kid 15, here on YouTube, who was suspended a couple of days ago, has been reinstated, so that shows that YouTube do listen to people and they can reverse their decisions when they feel that maybe they got it wrong or overreacted, which is good news for all of us here on YouTube. So, B-sides, or flip sides, do you remember those? They were in the days of the 7-inch vinyl 45 RPM single. You had one of these, that's what they looked like. They went down at 45 RPM. They had, this is the A-side, Groovy Kind of Love is by Les Gray, and you would flip it over and you would play the other side, which was US Style by Les Gray. Okay, so you've got two tracks, one on each side, as opposed to these days where it's the CD with all the tracks on one side. Yeah, you knew that bit anyway. And I was just talking to a guy the other day. We were talking about our favourite B-sides and the whole B-side thing. And so my favourite B-sides, I decided I would list 5, and you can tell me your 5 favourite B-sides if you're old enough to remember the days, the glorious days of vinyl singles. The very first B-side I really discovered, well, I guess I'd played them before, but the one that really struck me was in 1972, and it was the Bee Gees with their single Run to You, which was on Polydor, and you flipped it over and you got The Road to Alaska, which was a totally different kind of song and showed a different side to the Bee Gees to what I was used to. I liked most Mud B-sides. They had a single in 73 called Hypnosis. There it is. Oh yes, I've got them all. And on the B-side was The Last Tango in London, which is one of my favourite Mud tracks of all time, actually. Another Nicky Chin and Mike Chapman song. They wrote and produced Mud back in those days. But really good. Yeah, it's fantastic. 1977. Actually, I think it came out in 78. But it was published in 77. Rod Stewart had a single called Hot Legs. He had until it's an old jukebox one. It took the middle out there. But on the flip side, the B-side, was a track called I Was Only Joking. And if you haven't heard that track, seek it out. I Was Only Joking by Rod Stewart. And for me, the reason why I like it, I think, apart from it's got some great guitar in it, but it kind of really captures the spirit of the 1970s. If you lived through the 70s, then have a listen to I Was Only Joking, because it is great. Slightly more up to date, back in 1990, there was a group I'd never heard of. They were a duo, actually, and they were called Rainland. Here they are. And they had this single called Jane's Not Talking. I was sent this copy to the radio that I was working on at the time, and I listened to Jane's Not Talking and I thought, what on earth is that? It really did nothing for me. It wasn't a hit, and I'm not surprised. But I then turned it over. I flipped it to the B-side, and on the B-side was this song called West of the Mountain, East of the Sea. And, well, if you haven't heard it, it's going to be difficult to hear it unless you find a website that's featuring it, or maybe somebody on YouTube. I haven't looked to see if it's on there. But they're called Rainland, and the track is West of the Mountain, East of the Sea, on the B-side. It's perfect. Great stuff. Why they put it on the B-side and have the other rubbish as the A-side, I'll never know. Yeah, my 5th. I think I've just done 4, yeah. So I'll include this one in back in the 70s, 1977. Boney M. I know it wasn't them singing on the record. It doesn't matter. Somebody said to me, how can you buy a record by them? It's a con. It's not them doing the... Well, okay, one of them was singing, but the rest of them were just there sort of miming and stuff. That doesn't bother me in the least. I buy the sound. I don't buy the group. I don't care what they look like. I don't care whether it's really them or not. If the sound is good, that's what I want. And so I bought some Boney M records. One of them was Belfast. And on the B-side was a really great song called Plantation Boy. It's a pity I can't really play you samples on here because of all the copyright furor with YouTube at the moment. So yeah, it's better with music, but anyway, there isn't any at the moment. But speaking of Boney M, the biggest B-side fiasco I think in the history of music was here in the UK. Boney M had a hit with The Rivers of Babylon. It was number one for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe longer. And they had on the B-side of that single, Brown Girl in the Ring, which was okay. So the Brown Girl in the Ring, la 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 la. It wasn't a great deal to it, but it was catchy and it caught on because after Rivers of Babylon had been a hit, the radios started playing the B-side, Brown Girl in the Ring. One of the DJs discovered it and it caught on and people went to the shop and bought Brown Girl in the Ring. Then they got it home and they realised that on the B-side, what they thought was a B-side, was the Rivers of Babylon. So they checked the Rivers of Babylon single and found Brown Girl on the Ring, Brown Girl in the Ring on the B-side. And they realised they'd bought the same record. So they took them back. And I was amazed that they didn't know what was on the B-side of their single. I always play B-sides because I like to get my money's worth. You know, you pay for two tracks, you might as well hear 2 tracks. So anyway, that was a kind of fake hit for Boney M. Very enjoyable, and went down kind of in the chart history books. But it was a lesson to be learned there. Always check the B-side. But of course now we have CDs, so there are a few singles around still on vinyl, but not that many. Okay, I think I've covered just about everything. I would just like to add a little bit. I was flicking through my satellite channels the other day, all the free-to-air channels, and there was one called Movies for Men. And on there was a war film. I came in about 15 minutes into it. It was obviously a fairly modern war film, and there are so many war films that for me to be really interested, they've got to be sort of above average. They've got to have some catch to them. This one I discovered later was made in 2003. I watched it to the end. There's about 4 American soldiers, 4 American soldiers trapped behind the enemy lines, having escaped being shot as prisoners, and they're joined by a British RAF guy who's dropped in to the wrong area, missed his target, and he has vital information to get to the American lines, and so suddenly these 4 Americans have a mission, which is to get him safely through rather than just stay alive. And it goes on from there, but it's got great characters, great interactions. Yes, there's violence in it because it's war, but there's no gore, there's no bad language. It's a very watchable, enjoyable war film, and it's called Saints and Soldiers, and I found it on Amazon on DVD. It apparently won 13 International Film Awards. I'd never heard of it, and it 7 of those awards were the Best Picture Awards. So I found it on Amazon, and somebody was selling it second hand for 15 pence, plus the £1.21 postage. So £1.36 for a DVD wasn't bad. I bought it. I watched it a second time. It's just as good the second time. It's a great movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you by giving you more details. It's just well worth checking out. If you come across it, Saints and Soldiers from 2003, check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Well, unless you like a lot of bad language and gore, in which case you won't get that. So have a great weekend, and I'll catch you later.